Hi guys, last video of the year in Mamemeister's High Score Kerfuffle Season 4, and this week we've been playing Arabian, released by Sun Electronics in 1983. As Colin said in his livestream, for 1983 this game doesn't look or sound great, but the gameplay is pretty decent. I definitely enjoyed playing it this week, and gradually got further through the game. It certainly vastly exceeded my expectations. The game consists of 4 single-screen platforming sections that loop, each time increasing the difficulty and the number of enemies on screen. The first 2 screens are really just an intro into the controls, and then screen 3 really steps things up, with much more advanced platforming with the moving carpets. That section reminded me of Frogger, and it takes a bit of time to get used to the movement, but once you're on top of it, it also becomes fairly straightforward. As you progress through the game, the number of enemies increases, and when 2 of the same enemy overlap, they combine and launch themselves at you. This makes it harder, but also provides opportunity to really up your score. If you kick this enemy, you get 1000 points, and if it then knocks out another enemy, you get even more points. In the third pass, the rate of these enemies appearing really increases, but getting to that point is somewhat tricky. Only a few of us got that far, so let's see how everyone did. We had 16 submissions last week, and like me, I think it surprised a few people. Both good and bad, probably. That was certainly the case with Moxie, who put a nice video on his YouTube. Alan played once again, and featured it in his livestream on Sunday, but given he didn't really have time to work out the scoring, it was more of a token effort. We've got first point scores for Moxie in 10th, and Robert in 8th, with 2 decent efforts there. Mark is 9th, and we've got Arabe Ian Cullen in 7th, who also expressed his growing enjoyment of the game. I expect he enjoyed the endgame of each screen, and spelling out Ian. Paul is in 6th, and in 5th, with his best finish so far this season, is Colin, who is definitely enjoying the game. Big Juffer is in 4th, with a good late entry. He's on his own, ahead of the pack, but behind the top 3. Our top 3 are all a chunk ahead of everyone. The 7th and 8th screens are fairly difficult, but if you get past those, you get the boat and cave levels again, which are both much more doable, even though the enemies get more challenging, so jumping from around 90,000 to 120,000 is certainly achievable. I was the first to set a top score, but was soon squeezed out by 10 Shearers, who has finished just ahead, but taking back-to-back wins with a game he's expressed his distaste for, but was still able to grind out a top score, is Andrew. Things are getting back to normal now, with last season's winner beginning to stretch his legs once again. Here is the distribution of the scores. We've got the stragglers on the left, who wouldn't have made it past screen 3. A big grouping of folks in the middle, who all got to screens 4 or 5. Big Juffer is on his own, as I mentioned, who probably got to screen 8. And then over on the right is our top 3, who all finished very close on points, but it was Andrew who took the win. Let's see how that's changed the overall positions. Those first points for Robert and Moxie have moved them into 12th and 16th respectively. Colin's 10 points has jumped him up 3 places into 8th. There's been no movement from me in 3rd down to Mark in 7th, but we've got a new leader. That win for Andrew has moved him back into his usual position of leading the table. It's still close, and Andrew is only 4 points ahead of 10 Shearers, but those guys are about 20 points ahead of me in 3rd. Now, on to this week's game. We're back to the shmups this week, and we've got another classic vertical one, and that is Terra Cresta, released in 1985 by Nichibutsu. This game is the sequel to the 1980 fixed shooter, Mooncrester. Alan is a fan of this, I believe, after having fond memories of the C64 port, and he's made 3 separate videos about this game. What is interesting about Terra Cresta, and sets it apart, is that the power-ups are ship pieces that you can combine with yours, and then use these as part of your ship, which gets lost when you get hit, or you can separate these from your ship to up your offensive power, and the detached pieces are invincible, but your ship returns to being a one-hit kill. This provides a nice balance of risk and reward that may be most useful at different points in the game. I've played a bit of this before, and whilst it's a nice game, it never really grabbed me, and it's another tough old game. Let's see how this week goes, and whether it's a grower like some of the games have been. We'll be using the Set 1 ROM with default settings. I hope you'll enjoy playing Terra Cresta, and I'll be back next year with the results. See you then.